Hi, it's Alison Mead from Silicon Bullet here with another bookkeeping top tip. I saw a question on a forum today about what checks do I do at the year end. So I thought that I would record a quick video and just let you know some of the simple checks that I do. As a bookkeeper, when you're keeping the books, or you might be somebody that staff put, or you yourself put the main things into your accounts, and you're going in the flow. And then a few months after the year end, you need to submit the accounts to the accountants or tell them that you're all done for the year and get them to do the year end. So there's a few simple checks that I like to do before I pass over any accounts that I've been dealing with to the accountant. I'll always run a balance sheet and a profit and loss and have a look through and just check that the figures make sense to me. Maybe even compare it against last year and see if there's been any fundamental changes between last year and this year and see if it makes sense. There's a few figures that I will always check in the balance sheet as well. So I'll always look at all my bank account balances, and I will check those against the bank statements as at the date of the year end. And the accountants that I deal with like to see a copy of the bank statement that crosses over the year end date. So make sure that those are correct. Now, if I give you an example of my own accounts, we've been a little bit late this year with everything that's going on. And when I checked the bank balances, they didn't actually match. And I'd obviously had a bad day back in June where I had put a couple of payments for June and I dated them March. One of those things, we're all human, we all make mistakes, but I was able to spot those. It was about £46 worth and put those right. I'll also have a look at the debtors as on the balance sheet, and I will print out a debtors list as of the end of the year. And if you're in Sage, I tick that little box that says exclude later payments. So it's going to show me basically what the list of debtors are on my accounts and compare it to the debtors control account. And again, this year I had one little difference. Now, what can happen with your debtors list is, say you have some payment on accounts or some credit notes, and then later on in the year you match them to the invoice. If you date the day you match the invoice to the credit note, if you leave the date as being after the year end, it can make your debtors look a bit wrong at the year end. Sage have a little trick and some reports you can download that help point that out to you so that you can fix it. So if you see that scenario with either your age debtors, and I do exactly the same with my age creditors, if you see that the list of individual balances doesn't add up to that total, then we have tricks and measures in order to do that. Don't forget to do things like the PayPal account. Maybe, like with a lot of businesses, you might run a petty cash account that maybe isn't really a petty cash account. It's just where a director's paid stuff out of their pocket and that kind of thing. I will usually adjust if there's any balance on the petty cash account at the end of the year. I will adjust that to the director's loan account. If you run a real petty cash account where you have a cash tin with money in it and you use it for small outgoings, I will make sure that the balance of money at the tin at the year end, which I must have recorded back when it was, because if you remember, you're usually doing this a little while later, I will check that the balance in the tin matches the balance in the accounts. I'll also have a scan of my debtors and my creditors, and I will do a little review. I'll check with the business owner if it's not my business and see whether those amounts of money that are showing as outstanding really will be likely to be paid, or is there a bad debt on there that you need to adjust for as well. So that's just a little quick video of a few checks that you can do at the year end before you pass the accounts off to your accountant if you are a bookkeeper, and it just means that you may be helping to prevent some of those questions and the things that come back. One of the other things that I will always send to the accountant as well is maybe a list of pension payments or payments in kind. If there's health insurance payments and that kind of thing for the year, they'll need to know that. And also, if there have been any big capital purchases, you might have bought a vehicle, some computer equipment, often they would like to see the paperwork for those. I don't send most of the paperwork to the accountants that I deal with these days, but just if there's a one-off or a large item, then it can be an idea to scan and send them those in. And if you've got any hire purchase agreements or anything like that, it's a good idea with loans and hire purchase that if you've got a latest statement that shows what's due at the end of the year, then you include those as well. It's all about just making sure that all the assets and liabilities for the company are correctly recorded in the accounts, and for those where you've got external evidence like statements, that you include those as well. So if you would like any more useful, handy bookkeeping tips, then do subscribe to Silicon Bullet on YouTube. Do go to blog.siliconbullet.com for my blog, or look at my Bookkeeping Basics podcast, which is brilliant for new businesses or people that are just starting out or a little bit confused about their bookkeeping. It'll just give you some little pointers and tips as to what you might need to look at. And until next time, it's Alice Mead at Silicon Bullet signing off. And if what I've said has made sense to you, please leave a comment below, or do get in touch if you would like some hand-holding or some one-to-one help with your own bookkeeping accounts if they've got into a bit of a mess. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.